Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Wadsworth High School's 2001 Baccalaureate ceremony. I would like to take a moment to congratulate all the seniors standing with me today and to wish you all the best of luck for after graduation. We have all worked very hard to get where we are today, despite our frequent bouts of senioritis. I know many of us still find it hard to believe that high school is almost over, with prom behind us and graduation only a week away. It's strange to look around and see people I used to play house in four squares with, now dressed formally in caps and gowns. Many of us prepare to leave behind the classic Wadsworth trademarks, such as Great Oaks Cinema and Biddingers, but all of us must prepare to leave our friends. I'm sure a lot of you have loved high school, and I can guarantee many of you hated it, but either way, the relationships we have made at Wadsworth High School have forever changed us. Our friends, and even our enemies, have made us stronger and wiser. Together, we have often struggled, and many of us have learned the hard way that we must fight the hardest for what we love the most. Despite all we have been through, however, each of us has found success, and that is why we stand here today. I am very proud to graduate with such a talented and intelligent class, and I'm sure the rest of you share this pride as well. As we prepare to move on to the next stages of our lives, I hope you all follow my favorite advice from Ralph Waldo Emerson. Do not be too timid and squeamish about your actions. All life is an experiment. May God bless each of you as you follow your dreams. Please be seated.
Here's to the class we hold so dear, the one we've come to know for 12 whole years. The time we've spent we'll not soon forget, some good, some bad, but nothing to regret. It has made us what we are today. We've taken a piece of Wadsworth High to stay. It will be in our hearts for the rest of our lives. We left a little something for future kids to thrive. We take with us the friendship we loved and the memories of all the handshakes and hugs. Our spirit and determination has taken us where we are, and we've come to realize the future isn't far. Oh wait, it's here, right now, right away. Whatever happened to let's do it another day, or I'll see you tomorrow, because these days could be filled with much sorrow. But our life is what we make of it. Where we go, the path we take, dim or lit. We decide now, Wadsworth High. So thank you, I'll remember you. But now it's time to say goodbye. We had fun, the senior class of 2001.
I'm honored to be with you this evening. I consider it a high privilege, but it is you, the class of 2001, that we have come to honor. And as you reach this milestone in your life, ready to move on and pursue your dreams and your hopes and your goals, I want to give to you a word of challenge this evening. Monty was a son of an itinerant horse trainer. That meant they traveled from horse farm to horse farm and ranch to ranch and racetrack to racetrack and stable to stable. And he was constantly being uprooted, taken away from one school to another and so on. And that was his life. And as a senior, he was asked to write a paper describing his dream for his life. He went home and began to think and dream and ended up writing a 7-page paper. His dream was to someday own his own 200-acre horse ranch and to also build on that stables and barns and a racetrack and a 4,000-square-foot home. And carefully in his paper, he outlined the plans for the farm as well as the design of the home. The next day, he came to class and turned the paper in, and 2 days later, he received the paper. It had a great big red F on the front with the note saying, "See me after class." He talked to the teacher, and the teacher said, "Monty, your dream is unrealistic. You cannot meet those kind of goals. After all, you're a son of a poor itinerant horse trainer. You don't have wealth. It takes money to buy land and to buy breeding stock and to build your buildings. But if you will reconsider your dream, write the paper again, I will consider issuing a new grade." He took his paper home and he pondered and he thought and he talked to his father, and his father said, "Son, I cannot make that decision for you. But I have a hunch whatever you do, it's an important decision." He continued to ponder and think for a week, and then finally, he went to class and he said, "I'm going to keep my dream, so I'll keep the F." Now today that F paper is framed and hanging over the fireplace of a 4,000-square-foot ranch home on a 200-acre horse farm. You see, he was a graduating senior in high school who had a dream, and his dream became a reality. But there's something in this story that becomes a challenge I wish to share tonight. That 200-acre ranch and that 4,000-square-foot home do not stand as a symbol to the power of a dream, but they represent something more significant. You see, that place has become a place for retreats and fundraisers and other avenues to help reach out to kids much like Monty when he was growing up, children at risk. And so it really stands as a monument to how our lives can make a difference. Herein lies a challenge to find the purpose for your life. What do you want your life to be? Over the last 8 months, I've been reading your many profiles in the newspaper, and I'm quite certain after reading those that you have a good idea of what you want to do with your life. You have dreams and goals, and you've set the course for the next 20 years, and that's good. But I want to challenge you to look down into the depths of your heart and the soul about something of significance with your life. I'm talking about a life with purpose. This is not about fulfilling dreams, however noble they may be, but to be somebody of character, whether your dreams are met or not. To live lives marked by diligence, to hold on with tenacity, to reach out beyond yourself and embrace the world around you with care. To be an authentic person in a world that cries out for genuineness. To allow your life to matter for God. John Henry Newman wrote, "God has created me to do him some definite service. He has committed some work to me which he has not committed to another. I have my mission. I am a link in a chain, a bond of connection between persons. He has not created me for naught. Therefore, I will trust him. Wherever I am, I can never be thrown away. He does nothing in vain. Herein lies a challenge to find the purpose for your life. It would be a great tragedy, I suppose, if you were to leave this high point of graduation from high school and move on and spend the next 5, 10, 15, 20, 30 years of your life pursuing dreams and goals, only to find that when they were finally met, life was empty and without meaning because you had not lived your life with purpose. It's been said it's not enough to leave footprints in the sands of time, but rather that your footprints are leading in a noble direction. The challenge is to look beyond yourself to that purpose for your life. From the New Testament, the book of 2 Timothy, a message to a young person. Do your best to present yourselves to God as one approved, as a worker who does not need to be ashamed and who correctly handles the word of truth. This is the high calling that puts our life in perspective. It's a life of serving God, standing with the prophet Isaiah who said, "Here am I, send me." The willingness to be put to work and to be used. But it's also a life of serving others. When we get self out of the way enough to realize there are others in this world. Richard Leiter says everyone is more fulfilled in life when they are giving of their time and their talent and their treasure. It could be to their own families or to their community or church. But use your influence to improve your world. Yes, to improve our world. To reach out and to love your neighbor as yourself. To do to others or treat others as you wish they would treat you. When people wrong you, learn to forgive. Avoid judging and putting others down and backstabbing and gossiping, but looking for ways to reach out. Why do we need a life with purpose? Well, dreams are what you want to get to. You see, a life with purpose, it helps you to remember who you are along the way. The way to success is not just getting somewhere, but a life of success is living each day with purpose. Dreams are good, but if dreams lack a purpose in your life, then there isn't much of a destination. There was a large university that were having an orientation for the incoming freshman class. It lasted for a few days before classes started. And on the final day of orientation, there was an open house for their administration and the new students. And people were mingling around and conversing one with another. And a lady up in years approached one of the young freshmen and said, "And what do you think of the college so far?" And the boy said, I really like it, except for the president. He's an old fuddy-duddy, and he's out of touch with our age and our time, and furthermore, I think he ought to just be put out to pasture. Well, the woman was kind of aghast, and she said, "Young man, do you know who I am?" And he said, "No." And she said, "Well, I'm the president's wife." Well, he looked at her and said, "Ma'am, do you know who I am?" And she said, "No." And he said, "Good," and he ran away. I hope you know who you are and that you don't run away from these kind of situations, but in life, you live your life with purpose in mind. Why? Because it is so essential that we keep our lives focused, and purpose helps us to keep things in focus. If we measure success by the 3 P's of possession and profession and power, then they can become that which skews our minds and begins to alter our behavior. And after a while, we'll reach a point where we really don't care about anything else but possessions or profession or power. And we can end up alienating ourselves from God and from others, even those closest to us, like friends and family. And the result, we don't care because we neglect and we hurt just because we're looking out for the 3 P's of possessions, profession, and power. But if you get the big P in perspective and you have your purpose figured out, then it helps you stay focused. People go to college for a variety of reasons. In a Newsweek interview, they were asking a former player in the National Football League from the Miami Dolphins, "Why did you go to college?" And he said, "Well, it's like this. My dad and my uncle were human cannonballs in the carnival. And one day my dad came to me and he said, 'Son, you can either go to college or you can become a cannonball.' He said, then one day they shot my uncle out of the cannon. He missed the net, hit the Ferris wheel. That's why I went to college." It's wonderful when we have focus and we know where we're headed, but we want to keep purpose in mind. Because when we have purpose in mind, it keeps us in the right direction. But purpose also gives us motivation. You see, we need to know that life isn't always easy. Yes, there are ups, but there are also downs. There are good times, but there are difficult times. There are setbacks, and there are those times in your life when you'll get discouraged. But if you have a higher purpose, then you'll keep going when times get rough. There was a man who found himself in the middle of a cow pasture. He thought he was all alone, and he was, with the exception of one bull. And the bull was quite angry. In fact, he was snorting and pawing the ground. And the man looked around and he thought, there's nowhere to go. There was a tree, but the lowest branch was 10 feet in the air. And he looked and wondered what he was going to do. He couldn't run for the fence. And it was then he realized the bull had ceased to snort and he was now charging. And so the man ran, and with all he had, he jumped for that 10-foot branch. And he missed it. But the good news is he caught it on the way down. It's amazing what motivation will do for us. And if you have the right kind of motivation, you have a purpose in mind, a higher purpose, a purpose that says, I want to serve God. I want to focus on other people. I want to be the kind of person that makes my world a better world because of the way I care and the way I share in generosity. If you dream with purpose, then your life will be fulfilled. Share with you the life of my friend Gordy. He and I were high school classmates. We graduated together. He was very intelligent, graduated very high in his class. He was athletic, good-looking, full of wit. One of those kind of people that everybody looked at and said, this guy will go places in life. We went on to college together. We were roommates. And after college, we went to the same graduate school and received our respective degrees. I stood up for him when he was married, and he stood up for me when I was married. As you may guess, we were the best of friends. My friend knew the higher purpose of life, a purpose that meant serving God, a life that meant focusing on others, a life of reaching out in care and generosity to this world. After over 18 years of formal education, he spent a year working with the street people in Chicago. He even went out with only a quarter for a phone call and spent days on end with the homeless, living in shelters and eating in soup kitchens. After he spent a year in that program, he and his wife reduced all of their earthly belongings to that which would fit into 12 overseas barrels. And they were sent to Bolivia, and they soon followed. They've been there now for over 15 years, serving among the rural people of perhaps the poorest country in our sister continent in the Western Hemisphere. He's working with the rural people, trying to help them to see how raising crops that sustain human life is better than the more lucrative crops of cocoa plants for the production of cocaine. He is working among the people as a light in a dark, dreary world, sharing good news and hope. He's working among those people as he shares a life of care and generosity. In 3 weeks from this weekend, the 500 plus from our graduating class will be gathering together for our 30th class reunion. And I know there will be many who will gather around, and they will have many wonderful success stories of meeting their goals and their dreams. Gordy won't be there. You see, Bolivia isn't a weekend trip. And I dare say that some will look at his bio and they will say, whatever happened to him? And while there are many in our class who I'm sure have found a life of purpose, higher purpose, I am quite certain of this, that he's made a difference in his world. And for that reason, I count him among the most successful in our class. Serving God, focusing on others, making this world better through caring and generous ways. This is a wonderful milestone in your life, and I encourage you as you go forth over the next years of your life that someday when you gather together for your 30th class reunion, you'll be able to look back at your own life and say, these have been productive years of a life with high purpose. Thank you.
Tonight, we are commemorating the end of our high school era. As we do so, we want to take a moment to show our gratitude to those persons in our lives who have helped us reach this pinnacle. These people have provided us with love, support, and guidance, paving the way for our future. Without the sacrifices they have made, we would not be here right now. Therefore, at this moment, we want to offer our love and appreciation by giving a flower to that person or persons who have given of themselves to mold us into the young men and women we are today.
Would you please stand for the benediction? Grow from here with your futures before you, and go from here with all the potential you have, and go from here strengthened in your inner being. Be established in love, so that everyone you meet may be touched by your life as you serve one another in the humility and grace of our Lord. Amen. you.